Hey, I'm Sam from the Healing Collective, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about the interaction between psychiatric medications and the use of alcohol. Now, many of the clients that I work with do struggle with issues around substance use or problematic drinking, and this is not a topic that only applies to folks who are on the higher end of the spectrum as far as alcohol use goes. This is really about anyone who is using alcohol at any frequency, who is also diagnosed with a mental health disorder and prescribed psychiatric medications. So, a brief kind of overview of how those psychiatric medications work is typically we're looking at some sort of deficit or chemical imbalance with something like serotonin, dopamine, GABA, those chemicals. And what's happening is typically we are at an imbalance or we are not at baseline where we should be. So if we take depression and let's say serotonin, for example, typically someone with depression is going to be operating at a level of serotonin availability on a daily basis that is abnormal or not at baseline. So if I am starting down here on a daily basis and my medication that I'm prescribed for depression is designed to help me get to baseline, so get to normal functioning, get to normal feeling, and then come 5 p.m., 7 p.m., 9 p.m., whatever works for you, if what ends up happening is you pour a glass of wine on top of that, or you have a beer, or you have a nightcap, what's happening is you're then applying a depressant to your system. So you're going back down to maybe where you were, or even lower sometimes, depending on the amount or the frequency. So what we don't want to do is have these substances interact in a way where I wake up in the morning and maybe this is the way I'm feeling, and I take my Zoloft or my Prozac or what have you, and I get back up to baseline. And I'm just not really aware that at some point that day, when I'm then applying alcohol to my system, that I'm scooting myself back down to under functioning on a chemical level. Most folks do not realize the interaction between their psychiatric medications and alcohol and assume that you have to be consuming in very large amounts to be offsetting how your medications work. Unfortunately, that's not the case. It is just a simple balancing act as far as chemicals go. So any amount of alcohol on the brain when you are on psychiatric medications is going to affect the way that they function.